So when I went offline, something spoke to me and it said, the last time the officers were killed, they were taking things from you and then returning while you were before you traveled and during your. Now, what they would hope is I would curse you all while it was happening, but I just blew this one off and said, "Well, maybe it's something," which shows you guys are going to react. Now, I can't tell you what happened, but it's looking like you're trying to implicate yourselves. What happens is cops will implicate themselves just to say it's us. Ha, ha, ha. Right. They do. They're weirdos. But again, it's a bunch of other people too. They hired somebody, paid somebody. Again, I'm the honest guy. Don't try flipping the script. Though. Right. Agreed. All right, y'all need to listen to your buddy Trump. You know, right? He doesn't know if he's going to heaven. You all need to heed that. Right? No, you don't need to bring in higher dollar preachers to be paid more money to tell him he's going to heaven. He figured that game out. If these people corrupt, they really can't tell me if I'm going to heaven. Right? So I don't know if that's God talking to him or not. Right. It could be ultrasonic voices, but since you don't investigate those, because people that investigate it get paid off, right? They're the same people I speak about. We don't know if they are. 100%. Russians could have ultrasonic voices in Trump's head, but because we don't investigate Havana syndrome properly, right, we have no clue what's going on. Well, who was in office when, again, the prosecution of Comey is ill advised, but who was in office when we investigated all that? Comey and his people, right? So again, let's be not be dual minded there. 100%. Thanks, Larry. Just start reversing the process. Well, if you didn't use it on me, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what God's reaction would be because to a certain degree, if somebody is part of something like that, and they don't have to be part of it specifically running the psyop, but if they believe in causing trouble for people, whether it's personal joy or gain or whatever it is, then they would most probably lose the protection of God against such things, right? Okay, so what they want to transit me is I have to stop them. Okay, I already told you what they're doing. If I say, it's pretty funny. If I speak about you all, the deep state, I'll be looking at people sitting on this bench out here. And they'll say, you have to stop her. Like it's her, on the bench. She could be part of it, but she'd just be a small player. Right? I don't know. And again, there's a man on there. I'll heal him. He's a she right now. Right. Thanks, Larry. Thanks, Larry. So they still use it on me like idiots. They hide behind spells. So again, that's why they do it, because most times the victim attacks somebody that's not even related to it, or related to it in a, like a drug addict that they're paying, or a drunk that they're paying to do stuff. Right. Now, you get, again, the Bible helps you decipher what missing exploited children actually is. It's a group of individuals, and it's an honest thing, but it's only honest when it's honest. It's not honest because it's missing exploited children. It's only honest when it's honest. When it's dishonest, it's dishonest, and it's the devil. Only the devil would take a place like that and make it dishonest, right? It would have been easier to let me in instead of try to kill me. That's really what they're doing. They wouldn't let me in on missing exploit. That's part of it. Because they're corrupt. They don't let people in that aren't corrupt. Or at least accept it. Turn a blind eye to it. Or actually worship it. Some of them worship it. Well, this is how we keep children safe, by being corrupt, right? They don't call it that, right? Actually, nah, something got me, had me get offline because they wanted to talk to me. Or somebody. It could be somebody. Right. Now, they don't care because, those two officers might actually been honest officers. Right. And laugh. No, it's not the stress of moving. See how they do that? See how they do that? Put that in your head. Right. So that's how they cover what they're doing. Oh, we know what this is. We'll go to our psychology. I don't know if it's still out there, but one of the reasons they hated Wikipedia was that honest psychologists actually went on Wikipedia and tore up the law enforcement psychology as just as bullshit. Right. And you have to worship the psychology, or you're not going to, stay an investigator, or even get, I guess, get a good position, like on the task force or something. Right. It's bullshit. If you actually what it says, it's bullshit. If you actually apply it to law enforcement officers, they're all criminals. Even honest. Right. Agreed, Larry. And again, it's also lying about the input, or manipulating the input. Right. But sometimes they don't have to because it's bullshit anyway. You always have to ask the question when they tell you how perfect it is, and they're sure that this person's a criminal and that person's a criminal. Then why didn't you catch those other criminals before they committed the crimes? It was obvious they were actually at risk of committing those crimes because they're out there at the bars, getting young ladies drunk, having sex with them. Because it's bullshit. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit from Satan. Every last one of them that's a bullshitter like that works for Satan. They did one thing that got me through all of this, allowed them to do this. and they steered me away away from owning a dog and having a life work. So again, having a house, more protection. Having a dog, more protection. Right. Again, it's a science. Again, a science that we spend trillions of dollars developing. Yeah. Absolutely, they're using CIA technology. And absolutely, it's Republican and Democrat. And absolutely, anybody that uses it or condones it will go to hell because it's exactly what Rabbi Yeshua ben David, aka Jesus, was speaking about. If you're the thing that causes trans people to be trans people, then you're going to hell. They're not going to hell. Right. And people in church and people in conservative organizations and people in law enforcement are moving psyop and spells to cause transgenderism in their victims. Think it's funny. So again, there's no doubt that that's who you all are. There's no sorry in this. You don't have to say you're sorry. Just end it. If you can't end it, then maybe you want to end it. Get out of here early. Hey, that's what you say to everyone else. All of you might as well say it to you. On reverse. Got a reaction from me. But you know you can. You all can. You just won't do it. You all got plenty of money. Now, I can't tell you whether Elon does it, but the inference is that he did and does. Right. Well, security is not always secure. Security services are being used defensively in psyop and destruction of life, liberty, and happiness. And the funny part was that was like in the 1970s and 80s, the television made for television movies and stuff. it was corporate security that was the evil. It may have been real. I don't know. Right. I was asleep until I was 40, and they spend another 20 something years doing this, and they think they're going to go to heaven, right? Or maybe they're just too ignorant to care. The deep state people. Again, I don't want to use deep state term because a lot of people, I'm not deep state. I'm against deep state. No, you're deep state when you're deep state. Deep state is not a political party, although it's in political parties. If you looked at the place where I lived when I moved in, and then look at it now, you'll see that it degraded over those 2 years. Right. Well, cops don't care. They're making money off the drug sales, making money off the prostitution. What do they care? But again, I told them, if you keep going, I was thinking like 5, 10 years, your community's going to degrade. Now for them, hey, business is good. We're getting, get overtime. We arrest a lot of people. Right. These stats are ass backwards or bass backwards. Cops actually will up crime to look good busting. So what do they care if they cause crime? I mean, it's not confusing. When they leave the planet, they will go to hell, and they can't say Jesus 9 million times just because they own churches. It's at that point. The churches are owned. They're not churches any longer. And really, Jesus never came to build a church. He came for seek and save that which was lost. He didn't come to save the self-righteous. He says righteous, but it means more like self-righteous. So what they're trying to do is to break my mind into committing some sort of crime, to include physically harming people. So what that tells me, when I read the news, I can now see what they caused. And even if they weren't part of a person doing that, they are the ones that will up the demons and devils into your community, the spiritual ones, because they're physical devils that cause those crimes. I said years ago, black on black crime is caused by the KKK. Black on black crime is caused by the KKK and the white supremacists. They're casting spells. But yet, it's other places also. Just keep going. Maybe another couple months, couple officers will be gone. I'm going to just keep going. That's your thing, all of you, keep going. You just write them off as sacrifice for you to get rich. Unreversed. When it trips their head, then they project. They project the reversal. What they're doing is they're causing evil to appear to be good and good to be evil. That's what a reversal does. But then it also pays them the money that I'm supposed to get, that kind of thing. No, they're evil watchers. They're not the real watchers. And make sure nobody honest gets in. I killed tons of kids, man. They're sick. Half of them are probably child rapists to begin with. Right. Child rapists love company. That's why they're out there trying to cause that. If you get more child rapists, it's not just Democrats. Conservatives are being busted hand over fist. Right. And of course, you project it into my life with the trans stuff and everything else. I've already investigated. I don't need to investigate it again. Just so you can bullshit and lie about what it is. See, every time, that's what they're big on reversal. Every time I say something that makes them unsettled, they project the reversal. Right. It isn't anything I said. That's bullshit. Don't now they want to try me and test me. We'll show you. We won't do anything if you don't say, oh, look, see, we're not doing anything now because you're not saying anything. It's an illusion. It's a spycraft illusion. If I don't say anything, they'll just put in your mind that they're not doing it any longer. I spent years not saying it. Well, they walked around saying stuff. It's like, and every one of these cops knows it's a corrupt system. Right? Them saying, oh, it's because he's saying something is just some bullshit. They can feed each other.